Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving right into the absolute simplest ways to dynamically update a website's UI using jQuery. If you've ever spent time wrangling the document object model, the DOM, then you already know that managing elements efficiently is literally the secret sauce for a fast, responsive interface.
So, to kick things off, we really have to ask a crucial question about updating your interface. When you need something gone, are you just clearing out the inside, or are you throwing away the whole box? Now, this isn't just some philosophical question. It's actually the core logic behind how we manage web elements. Today, we're going to look at the exact methods jQuery gives us to answer that very question.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll be looking at UI updates made simple, container versus content, emptying the container, total structural deletion, and finally, choosing the right tool.
All right, part 1, UI updates made simple. Let's jump in.
Dynamically updating the UI is, well, it's an absolutely essential skill for any web developer, right? When you want to pull content from your HTML, you might think it requires, super complex coding or convoluted logic. But jQuery, it makes it incredibly simple. It really just boils down to two primary methods, .empty and .remove. These two commands are basically your best friends for keeping a website looking fresh and interactive, all without having to reload the entire page.
Moving on to section 2, container versus content. Okay, so we really need to define our mental model here first. The document object model isn't just some flat list of text, it's highly structured. Think of the DOM as being made of structural containers, we can call them outer shells or HTML tags, and then the content that actually lives inside them, like text or child HTML elements. If you don't grasp the difference between the box itself and what's inside the box, well, you're going to end up deleting the wrong things on your page.
Which brings us to section 3, emptying the container. Let's take a closer look at the .empty method. This method specifically targets the inner content. It wipes out all the child elements, all the text, and all the HTML code nestled within a tag. But, and this is the absolutely crucial part, it leaves the shell completely intact. The container stays exactly where it is in the DOM structure.
So here's the exact workflow in practice. Step 1, you target an element, say a specific button on your page, using its class. Step 2, you just call the .empty method on that button. You don't even need to pass any parameters into it. And step 3, poof, the text inside vanishes. You're just emptying that tag out, leaving a blank, textless button sitting on the screen.
Take a point of sale section as another great example. Imagine you've got a section on your web page with an ID of point of sale, and it's just filled with complex HTML code. If you target that section and use .empty, all of the HTML inside vanishes instantly. But the section container itself, that invisible structural shell with the point of sale ID, it remains firmly on the page, completely ready to be filled with new content later on.
Okay, section 4, total structural deletion.
Now, if .empty is like taking everything out of a box, the .remove method is basically like throwing the box itself into an incinerator. .remove is a true structural deletion. It acts like a giant delete key for your web page. It targets the element itself and deletes both the container and absolutely everything inside it from the document, completely outside in.
For instance, let's apply this to two distinct elements. First, an orange button. When .remove is called on it, the entire button element is completely deleted from the web page's structure. It doesn't just lose its text, the button itself just ceases to exist. Second, imagine a contact map image located in a contact section. When that image is targeted with .remove, the entire map image is completely wiped from the web page.
Seriously, when you use .remove on something like an image, it disappears entirely. It's like there's a wizard on the website, right? It really does feel a little bit like magic when you see entire structural elements just vanish from the DOM with one simple command.
And our final section, section 5, choosing the right tool.
Looking at these side by side, it really reveals a clear logic. You always have to ask yourself the what, how, and why of your content removal. .empty clears the inside text in HTML but keeps the tag. You're going to use this when you want to refill that container later. .remove, on the other hand, acts as a structural delete key for the entire tag. You use this when that element is gone for good and you need to reclaim that space on your web page.
So the crucial point really comes down to this. .empty clears inner content and leaves the structural shell totally intact, while .remove deletes the entire element, wiping out the container and all its content.
Understanding this specific distinction proves why these two commands truly are the simplest, most effective ways to dynamically update a UI without breaking your page's layout.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought for the next time you're writing jQuery for a project. Take a look at your code and ask yourself, are you just cleaning house, or are you tearing down the walls entirely? Mastering the difference between the content and the container is going to make you a much sharper, more intentional developer. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep building great things.